learn about some other operators that were remain. Along with this, next part of syllabus will be discussed, including control structures and functions, if possible. Depends on the session. And I hope all the participants are getting useful concept about programming language Python. If by chance you miss on some important points or even whole lecture, worry not, as it is available on YouTube also. With my best wishes, I welcome the trainer, Mr. Kamlesh Bhure sir, to continue the session. Please, sir. Welcome.
Okay. Better, I guess, from next time, please give me as a co-host, right? So that so that you will not be.
Yes, sir.
I don't need to ask you again to for unmute. So let's do some recap. What happened yesterday? Okay. So let me share my screen. I shared my screen and
Yes,
hope
sir.
it is
Screen is
visible
there.
to you. So okay, great. So yesterday, so yesterday we saw what is the history of Python. Okay, and we talk about why to choose Python and all those things. Then we move to what is the use of Python, where Python is used mainly. So one of the key area or prominent area where Python is used nowadays is data science and machine learning. So anyone wants to make a career in Python, they can explore this particular area, data science and machine learning. So there is a huge scope in this particular area. Okay. Then we saw how to install Anaconda distribution for Python. Okay, and then we saw how to use Jupyter notebooks. We wrote first program in Python, and we saw how to shut down a Jupyter notebook and how to execute Python as well, Python script as well. Okay, so um, we also talk about what are different Python objects and data structures basics. So we completed integer, floating point, strings, and list. So and a dictionary as well, and tuples. Okay, fine. We just saw basics about these things, and we were discussing about in detail part about dictionaries, tuples, and set boolean. Okay, so and we saw what is a valid variable. We saw that. Okay, so let's move to next topic. Okay, so we were discussing about this dictionaries. So I'm into Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so yesterday we saw in detail about list. Okay, so we will now see about how to use what is a dictionary. So dictionary is nothing but key value pair of collection of key value pair. Okay, so whenever we create a dictionary, we need to create using curly braces, and in that we need to specify key, and then and after that we need to specify colon and then value. It is as simple as that. So likewise, we can specify as many values, key value pairs we want. So by separated by comma. Okay, so if you want to access specific key, then in that case we can directly use key to what is the key to is nothing but second key in the dictionary. So if I just execute this and then this, then I'm able to see this particular what is the value of this key. By specifying the value, I'm able to fetch this value. Okay, so so I'm able to see this particular result just because I'm using Jupyter notebooks. If you have written Python code, Python script, and you just wrote this two statement, in that case, you will not be able to see this particular output, because you need to do print statement. You need to use print statement. Then only you will be able to see this output in a Python script. So in previous example, we created one test.py file. In that we wrote the print, then in round bracket, um, hello world. So we were getting output as hello world in command prompt. Similarly, here as well, you need to write Python, print statement if you want output in the command, or anywhere in the output. Okay, so again, some important thing. Important thing is a dictionary is not only for string, but it can accompany about with different objects as well. So here key is string. Always key will always be string, or it could be integer as well. Okay, and if I specify key, and the value could be integer, it could be list. Okay, list of integers, list of strings. Okay, so if I just access it using key, just here it is key 3, then I'm getting value as a list of strings. Okay, if I want specific element or item from the list, then in that case I can specify like this. It is as simple as that. So I am getting this item 0. Okay, so if I want upper, okay, so now this is something like one of the function I've used here for just for example. So during this particular session, you will be able to see that I'm using different functions just to understand of methods, to understand um some of the most useful functions or methods, already predefined functions, which we can use for doing specific operations. So here I'm using upper function. So what it does, it makes this item small case into uppercase. Okay. And here this is another example by accessing key 1 as a key. I'm getting 1 2 3, which is if you just look into this particular um, dictionary, then you will be able to see this is key, and I'm getting value as 1 2 3. So it is like a lookup. So I'm specifying key and I'm getting value. Okay, so if I do some operation here like this. Okay, so okay, I need to specify and to run these statements, then only I will be able to see the results. So here I'm getting uppercase value. If I'm able to access, if I'm trying to access, then I'm getting 1 2 3. And if I do subtraction, then I'm getting result as well. That is 0. Suppose I'm doing, if I do something like this, let me execute it again. That it will have the same new value. Okay, so it will be 23. So what it does, this particular index is having this particular lookup index is having 1 2 3 value, and after subtracting 100 from this normal subtraction operation is there, and it gives me a subtraction which is 23, but it changed the value in this key value pair. Okay, so that is the thing which we need to note it down. Okay, so there is a shortcut as well, which I mentioned in previous class. We can use different shortcuts. So this is one of the shortcuts for this operation. So you can see we are getting this value. So what it does, because we subtracted 100 from here. So after subtracting 123 from here, I'm getting minus 100. Okay, so if I want to initialize any or initialize any variable as a dictionary, in that case I can specify like this: d equal to in curly braces, opening and closing. Then if I specify specify like this, then it create one element with index as animal and value as dog, or key as a animal and value as a dog. Okay. Similarly, another key I'm adding into that, that is answer equal to 42. So if I just look into that, then I'm able to see this key value pair, both the values. So likewise, there are different examples. So there we can create nested dictionaries like this. So one dictionary element item can be another dictionary item, and its value could be another dictionary. This is another dictionary. So in this particular dictionary, D dictionary, you will be able to see there is a nested dictionaries. This is first dictionary. This is the second dictionary, and there is a third dictionary. So likewise, so there are three dictionaries here we can see. Okay, and if I want to access it, obviously we are able to access it by using keys only. There is nothing, there is no other option. So yes, there is a simple way is like we need to find keys. So either here it is a key one, nest key, and sub nest key. So likewise, we can specify in square bracket and we can get the value. So I'm getting value here. Then there are some methods which we can make use of. That is keys. Keys is a value. Keys is a method which we can use to get the keys only. So what it does, it gives a list of keys. So this is a list. Okay, because it is in a square bracket, so that's why it is a list. Okay, and we can get the values also. Only values if I want, then I can get it using dot values function. So it gives us another list. If I want items, then it gives us tuple. So this is a tuple which we get. So what it does, it is creating a list of tuples, like key and value combination. This is one item with key and value, but it is a there is no key value pair right now, but it holds first value as a key, second value as a uh, what was the item. Okay, so this is a one tuple. This is one tuple. This is second tuple, and this is third tuple, and it combines to create a list. Okay, so this is the dictionary. This is all about dictionary. Okay, so let's move to next topic, that is tuples. So we saw tuples is nothing but immutable ordered list, ordered immutable list. Okay, so we will see how to constructing tuples, basic tuple methods, immutability, and when to use tuples. Okay, so here we created or initialize one tuple with value 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can check its length. So this is another function which we are using, that is alien function, alien method. Okay, so what it does, it gives us um, length. Okay, just let me just clear output so that we can run it at the time only. Okay, so I'm initializing this as a 1, 2, 3, and if I run length, then yeah, I'm getting length. What is the length of this particular tuple? So I'm getting 3 because it holds 3 items. Okay, then next one is a mix of objects. So mix of object types. So here, this particular example is with the integer, all integer objects, which is combining, creating created one tuple. But here we have one string and one integer. So still this is valid, and we can create one tuple. But how to access this? So obviously there is an index like any array. We can specify zeroth index. So with that zero index, what we will get? We will get one string. Okay, and by specifying -1 in a reverse order, we will get 2. So when we specify 0, we will get first value. But when we specify -1, we will get always last order, last value, last item. Then there is a basic tuple methods, like here it is index. So what is the index of one string? So this is the item I'm specifying here. So if you know what is the item and what you want to know what is the index of that, or if you want to find specific value into tuple, then you can specify that item here, and you can get the item is available in that particular tuple or not. So if I just specify like this, then it gives us value error. So this particular um, item is not present in tuple, so that's why we are getting value error. So that this particular thing also we need to keep in mind. Then there is a count function. So what count function does? Count function tells us that what is the appearance, what is how many times this particular item is available in that tuple. So if we specify tuple, just for example, what I will do, okay, I will specify one here again. Okay, so tuple will now holds two times one value. Okay, so if I run this particular statement, then I will get two, because one is a string. One string is available two times in tuple, so that's why we are getting two values here. Then immutability. So as we mentioned, as we know in previous session, we saw that we cannot change tuples. So if I try to change index 0, which is holding value as 1, if I change it to something, then I'm getting error, the type error. We cannot change tuple. So here it specifies that tuple object does not support item assignment. So can we change, can we add new value into that? Obviously not. So attribute error we are getting. So tuple object has no attribute append. So we cannot append any new item in that, into that particular object. So when to use tuple? Obviously, whenever we don't bother to, if it is we don't want to change its value, but we want to just access it. In that case, we can use tuple. Okay, and mm, okay, and also there are many other ways, many other places where we can use tuples. So that will be that you will come to know. And most really, tuples are generated from functions only, and we use those things while programming. Okay, so we will see how it works. Now we will see sets and booleans. Okay, so to create set, we need to, first of all we'll just clear output. Yeah. So X, I'm creating X as a variable. I add one item into that. Then I need to use add function here. If I specify, if I just want to know what it holds, then we can see that object X, which is a set, is holding one item into that. So set is always it's always represented with the in a curly braces. So if I specify um, um, set, if you want to specify set, then it can be enclosed in a curly braces. If it is list, then in that case it is square bracket. And there is a slight difference between list and, sorry, set and dictionary. Both are both made to use, in both places we need to use curly braces, but the only difference is that dictionary will have key value pair, but list, sorry, set has comma separated values directly. Okay, so we can add another value into that. So we now have two item into that. Okay, so here you are able to see that set is a unique unordered list of items. Okay, it's a collection of unordered unique values. Okay, unique collection. So here I'm trying to add another one into that, but obviously we cannot do that because it should be unique. So one is already present, so that's why it is not appending or adding any new item into that. So we cannot change. We cannot have a set with 1, 2, 1. So that is not possible because one should be there only once. A specific item should be there in only once. Okay, so this is the we are trying to create here one list here. So we can see we created list with 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 1. Okay, so here you can see this 1, 1 is present four times here and here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, four times 1, 2 times 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, or all are ones only. So if I try to create a set of this particular list using this particular list, so we will get the unique values. So so here we can see we are getting one only once, two only once, and 3, 4, 5, 6. So what it does, it is unifying our list, and we are getting unique values from the list. So this is one of the application, like if I'm getting programmatically I'm getting some list by some user input or something, then in that case if I want unique values, then in that case I can directly use set function and create set from that list, and I will get unique values. So boolean is very much simple. In any language boolean is there, and it will hold true and false, these two values only. So any expression also creates to boolean value. So here one, and it has a none as well. So b equal to none. So um, if I print this, then obviously I will get none. So none is another uh, none is like, it is not true or false, but it doesn't holds true or false value, but it holds none. None is another value, third value in boolean. uh, this is the only thing which we have in python only. We cannot have this particular feature in um, um, java or php, different in any of these particular languages. Okay, so none is not null. Okay, so don't confuse with null from the different languages. Okay, so here we will close this particular data objects thing. We will see files in detail in later sessions. So we will move to next topic. So we will move to next, that is python comparison. Okay, what is in python, so in Python, comparison operators are like this. I mean, so in this particular table, what I did, you will be able to see that a equal to 3. I specified here a equal to 3, b equal to 4. I specified this particular variable. Okay, and if I do some operation using these operators, then what I will get. Okay, so that from example, I'm trying to let you know what is the output. Okay, so here a equal to 3, b equal to 4. I have specified here. So if I use double equal to operator, obviously it will give us true for false value or not true value. Okay, and if I use not a negation, this is negation operator. Exclamation operator is nothing but negation operator. Not equal to is, if I use here, then obviously it will be true because 3 is not equal to 4. Then if I use greater than sign, then it will be false. Less than sign, then it will be true because 3 is less than 4, so it will be true. Greater than equal to, obviously it will be false because it is not equal to, as well as it is 3 is not greater than 4, so that's why it is false. Less than equal to, yes, it is less than. So that's why 3 is less than 4. So we are getting true value here. If it is, if I change it to 3, in that case also, so I change b value to 3. In that case, this because statement will also give us true value. Okay. So this is the comparison operators we are having in Python. Okay. So move to bitwise operators. We will see in operation as well, how it works. Okay. So in bitwise operator, there is a ampersand, that is bitwise and. So here it is x ampersand sign y. Then there is a pipe operator is used for bitwise or. Then there is a tilde operator, which is a bitwise not. Okay. And how to use this operator I'm specified here. Okay. Then there is a XOR. This is a caret operator. So that is bitwise XOR. So we need to do it with the two variables. Then there is a bitwise right shift and bitwise left shift. So what it does, it shifts the bytes bitwise. What it does, it shifts the bit right side or left side. Okay, so we see this thing in operation how it works. Okay, so here it is. Yeah. So what we are looking right now is what are different types of operators we have in comparison in Python. Okay. So obviously 2 is equal to 2, so we will get true value. 2 is not equal to 0, but we're trying to uh, use the double equal to sign. Obviously we'll get false value. Okay. Uh, if I just do operation 2 not equal to 1, then I will get true. 2 is not equal to 2, obviously it is false. Greater than sign, um, 2 is greater than 1, yes it is. 2 is greater than 4, no, then we are getting false. 2 is less than 4, obviously true. 2 is less than 1, no, so we are getting false. 2 is greater than or equal to 2, so here we are getting true. And here 2 is greater than or equal to 1, so obviously we will get 2 here because 2 is greater than 1. So one of these particular operator should be valid for these two variables. So here or greater than sign is um, valid for these two variables. 2 is less than equal to 2, yes it is, so 2 we are getting. 2 is less than equal to 4, so yes 2, because 2 is less than 4. So this is how operators comparison operator works. Okay, obviously what I did, I'm using directly integer values, but whenever you do coding, you will not use directly 2 equal to 2 or something. You will have variable here, and based on variables value, what value it will hold, based on that expression will evaluate, and you will get the boolean output. Okay, and next we will see chain comparison operator. So this is nothing but similar thing, but only thing is that we do multiple operation at the same time. So here it is 1 is less than 2 less than 3. So if this complete operation is true, then in that true or false, then in that case we will get the true false value. So I'm just clearing here. So I'm getting true here. Similarly, if I want two expressions to be evaluated, then I'm getting true here. So if I want this particular expression and this particular expression need to be validated, then I need to use AND operator. If I want one of the expression could be true, then in that case I will use OR. Okay. So here also 1 is greater than 1 is less than 3, yes, and 3 is greater than 2, then obviously we'll get true. Then here also I am using two expressions. One is less than 3, yes, and 3 is greater than 2, yes. So we are getting 2. Here 1 is equal to 2 or 2 is less than 3. So here this particular expression will be false and this particular expression will be true. So in that case we are using ORing. So we will get true value here. Yeah. And here this particular expression will be true and this expression will be false because 100 is not equal to 1 and 1 is not equal to 1 is equal to 1. So that's why we will get 2. But we are using ORing, so obviously we will get one of the value could one of the expression could be true. So in that case we will get true. So yes, we are getting 2 here. Next we will see ternary operator. Um, okay. So ternary operator is nothing but expression which where we are trying to there is if else condition only, but that if else condition we are writing in a short form, short way. So that expression is very simple. You know, this is a expression. Sorry, true value on true what value need to be executed, and this expression we need to specify. Otherwise, what will happen? If we get false, then we will execute this particular statement. So we need to specify statement here, false and true statement. Then this is the expression, and this particular ternary operator is introduced in 2.5 version. Before that, there was no ternary operator. Okay, so in a single line, we can evaluate uh, which statement we want to execute. Okay, so here this is a small expression or example. So here you can see this is a unique way we haven't saw in previous sessions how to assign two variable at the same time. So how it does x comma y equals to 50 comma 50 or 25. So this 50 value will be assigned to x and y will hold 25 value. Okay, so so here it is sequence does also matter. Um, so what we how we are writing uh, as a sequence point of view for the variables, the similar sequence has to be there in this particular part as well. And this is a variable which I'm trying to assign using this particular expression. So here what I have selected now is a ternary operator. So here x, I'm assigning x value to small variable if this particular expression is true, and if this particular expression is false, then in that case we will assign y value to small variable. Okay, let's see what is output. So it is 25 because x is less than y. Obviously, no, it is not. So that's why we are getting y as assigned to small. If I change it to in a reverse way, suppose 25, then 50, x is less than y. Mm, just one more. Okay, so this is true. No. So okay, fine. I'm trying to change this as well. Okay, so here I'm assigning 50 value to this and printing it as a uh, using this particular statement. So what I did, I swapped this particular value. If 25 is less than 50, this statement now becomes true. In previous example, it was false. So that's why we are getting else as the output. But now after swapping this, we are getting y as the output. So that's why print statement gives, I mean, small will holds value of as a 50, which is y value. Okay, so this is a ternary operator. Okay, so we'll move to next. It is bitwise operator. Okay. I will just clear the output here for a moment. Okay. So what I did is I just specified initialize A and B with the 10 and 4. And when we do a binary operation, operation here, so in that case, we need to convert it into um, a byte. Um, and that and after converting into byte, we can evaluate whether we are getting correct value or not. So I'm just in comment. This is a comment. This is the way only we do comment in Python using hash. Okay, so this is a single line comment using hash we can do. So here just I've specified what will be the binary what is the binary value of 10. So it will be 1010. For 4 it is 0100. Okay, so likewise we are just specified here. If I do operation on this A and B, then in that case this is the expression, this is the way we our expression will be executed and we will get the output. Okay, so A and B and we do operation, then in that case we will get 0 as output. Getting error. Okay. Okay, so I haven't initialized this, so that's why we are getting error. So A and B, we are getting 0. Why we are getting 0? Because when we do ending of these two bitwise binary, in that case, we will get 0, because 0, we need to do it byte by byte, bit by bit. In that case, we will be able to see what is the output. If the 1 is compared with 0, in that case, we will get 0. And if we compare 1 with 1, then in case we will get 1. Likewise, if I try to just map it, then we will get 0. Then there is a or B. Okay, so if we evaluate this, then we will get 14. So as I mentioned, we need to compare byte by byte, and then we can evaluate whether we are getting 14 as a correct value or not. So this is the binary of 14, and you can do this operation manually as well. If I change, if I just do, okay, so I will just initialize again a equal to 10, and if I do negation of a, then in that case I will get minus 11. Okay, so here it is. This is the way we do operation manually. Then if I do operation for XOR a XOR b, then in case I'm getting 14. And if I do a right shift and left shift, this is right shift. So you can see, um, okay, so I need to change here. Yeah. So A is holding value as 10. And if I change, if I right shift by one value, in that case by one bit, then in that case you can see this previously 100 was there at 1000 position, and now it is now in 100 position. So we are getting 5 as a output. And if I do left shift, then in that case we will get 20, because we are shifting here. Our 10101 is shifted to left side, so that's why we are getting 20. So this is a bitwise operator. It is very much simple. Just we need to manually just evaluate manually. Then we are able to see how it works. Okay, so we will move to next section now. That is Python statements. So increment decrement operator is very much simple. That plus plus and minus minus in C plus plus and C languages, we are able to see in Java as well. We see that there is a plus plus and minus minus icon, a minus minus operator are there. But in Python, there is no operator like this. Increment decrement operator is not there in Python. So plus plus and minus minus are not there in Python. But you can do it this way: x equals to x plus 1, or we can do it using shortcut. and there is another shortcut method could be minus equal to, and there is another shortcut method could be star equal to as well. So okay, so likewise we can do uh, shortcut as well. So these shortcuts are available. That's why Python has not introduced plus plus or minus minus operation operators. Okay, so just keeping this particular thing in mind, that we don't have um, increment or decrement operators in Python. So move to Python statements. Okay, so Python in Python we don't have curly braces or round brackets while creating any specific code or block of code. Generally, whenever we write a statement, uh, we generally have curly braces to start if statement. If I want to write if statement, then I need to specify curly braces, multiple statements I can specify. And in the round bracket, I need to specify expression. Okay, but in Python, this particular way of writing has been is removed, and there is no need to specify it using round bracket or curly braces. Okay, so that is the main difference. And there is a but there is some operators are there, that is colon is there and white space. So white space, why white space? So indentation is the only way we can decide what is the scope of this particular statement. If any okay, we will see in that particular thing in action, how it works. But just keep in mind for a moment that uh, we don't have round bracket and curly braces, but we have indentation, indentation and colon to specify, to decide whether what is the scope of that particular statement. Okay, and then we don't have semicolon. So generally in C++, Java, we have semicolon operator to um, close or end any statement. Okay, but in Python there is no such a statement. There is no such a particular syntax or operator. Okay, so that is a difference in Python. So first we will see what are different Python statements. So one by one we will go. So first one is if, elif. There is no else if, there is elif. So just think. This is different thing. Just keep in mind. Elif. Then there is else statement. Okay. Break, continue, past statements. For loop, while loop. We are mostly aware about these particular statements. Then there are useful operators and functions we will see, and there is a list compression. There is a list compressions, which is a completely new concept. We will see in action how it works. And uh, if you see this particular list compression, then you would be amazed that how it condense our code into small single line statement. Okay, so let's see how it works. So we'll see if and elif else statements. Okay, so what I was mentioning about um, spaces and colons are introduced, and there is no curly braces. So this is one basic example without any programming code. Just a moment. So here you can see there is if keyword is mentioned, and there is a space. After that, we are specifying case one. So case one is nothing but one of the condition which we are trying to evaluate. Then we are specifying colon. Colon is to mention that we are done with specifying condition, and we now want to execute specific statement if this particular condition is true. So after specifying colon, there is new line, and after that we need to specify add spaces. Okay, so if I add space, then in that case, if I mention any statement, then that particular statement will be in the scope of this particular if only. Okay, so this perform action one will be executed after if case one is true. Otherwise it will not be executed. Elif, when this if statement is false, then in that case, else if, we generally call it as else if, but in Python it is elif. So elif, it is because it is shortcut or short form of else if, so that's why it is elif. And if case 2 will be evaluated, if case 1 is false, then case 2 will be evaluated and action 2 will be performed. Obviously that spaces are there, so that's why this statement, scope of this particular statement is inside elif. If case 2 also got invalid or false, in that case else will be executed, else part will be executed. So else head will not have any condition statement. It will also directly have colon, mentioning that we need to specify the block of code. So this is the third statement which will be executed if any of these conditions, case 1 and case 2, gets failed or false, then action 3 will be performed. So most of the things we already come to know how it works. So let's see by example. So if true, directly I'm just specifying here expression as true, what is the output of the expression, then in that case we will get the output as it was true. Suppose x is false, and if x is false, obviously this statement will not print, but else is there, so else will have this particular statement. So uh, we will get I'll be printed in case x is not true. So obviously we are getting this paradox. Okay. Okay, just for a moment, what I will do, I will just mention statement like this, and I'm just adding some dummy statement here. Let's see what happens. So I'm getting some syntax error. Why I'm getting syntax error? Because uh, if else statement has to be intended properly. So indentation is not correct. So we need to intend it properly. So if I just add space here and if I run, then okay. So I'm again getting some. Okay. So here there's a single quote, extra single quote. It's again run. So yes, so here I'm getting invalid syntax because instead of else, what we are doing for else there is no if statement. If I just see this particular statement, then if is not don't have if statement. So uh, that's why it is giving syntax error. If I just add one space here or tab is there, then in that case we will see we are getting this else output, else is output. Okay, so if I just add true, make it as a true, false. Okay. Okay, so case is also important. If I just specify true and true is not defined, so this is considering as a constant or variable. Okay. So that's why we need to specify in a small case. So here you can see if I specify x as a true, then I'm getting output of these two statements. Okay, so this spaces or indentation is important. So indentation just clearly indicates that what is the scope of this particular statement or where this particular statement will be executed. Okay, so so that's why indentation is important. So you will come to know that Python is very much readable language. It is not that we need to add curly braces, round brackets, and make it complicated to understand as well. So by removing all these curly braces, round brackets, Python is making code more readable and removing all complexity of by adding a clutter from our code by just removing curly braces and round brackets. Okay, so let's see more example. If, elif, and else. Okay, so which we saw in our first statement, first concept to understand concept. So here location is bank. So in else if we are getting this particular condition as true. That's why we are getting this print statement executed. welcome to bank. Okay. uh, so if statement was false, so that's why this condition was false, that's why it moved to elif. If I specify something like bank one, let's see what happens. Obviously we are getting moved to else part, because these two statements are now false. So that's why we move our control move to else. This is another example. Person equal to Sammy. If person equal to Sammy, then execute this statement, print welcome Sammy. If it is not, then welcome what's your name. Okay, so obviously we are specifying person name is Sammy, so we are getting this true statement as output. So there is a another example, person equal to George. If person is Sammy, then in that case welcome Sammy. If person is George, then welcome George. And if it is not, and both these conditions were false, then in the case we are move to else. So welcome George is executed. So um, here again, one point we need to understand that indentation is the important part. Indentation is important part which we need to uh, keep in mind, that if indentation is not correct, then in case we will get the syntax error or any other weird problem as well. So um, structure of the code is important, and it makes our code readable as well. Okay, so let's move to next part, that is break statement, break continue pass statement. Okay, so before that, I guess we need to cover for each loop, for loop. So let's move to for first. For loops. Okay, so for loop is uh, generally in C++, PHP, or Java. It is mostly it is used for it iterating any object. Okay, so similar here it is for iterating any object. Okay, so syntax for using Python is in Python is for, then we need to specify item, and then object we need to specify. Object could be list, set, or a tuple, could be anything. So it is mentioned here. Strings can be iterated, list, tuples, or even iterable dictionaries as well, such as key and or values. Okay, so we can iterate those, and we can get the item of these particular collections, and we can do some statement, we can write some statements here to do some operation based on these items. So here we have created one list which will hold 1 to 10 values. Okay, and if I just print it like this, then I'm getting output here. So by default, print statement gives us new lines at the end as well. So what it does, list one is nothing but uh, collection of this 1 to 10, and num1 in first iteration will be 1 value, in second iteration is 2. Likewise, it will iterate one by one, and print statement will print those values or items. Okay, so when one value is printed, new line also gets added. So one and new line character will be there. So that's why it is printing at the new line only. So we are able to see all these 1 to 10 items are printed in new line and not in a single line. Okay, so let's move to some other example. So there's a small one by one we will go, step by step we will go. So 17 mod 5 is 2. Okay, 10 mod 3 is 1, and 18 mod 7 is 4. 4 mod 2 is 0. So because it is 2 is complete divided by 4, we can divide 4 by 2. So In this particular example, we are talking about mod, how it mod works. So we just saw this how it works, and uh, we are evaluating if mod of this particular number is 0, then in that case we are printing. So we are trying to fetch even numbers from the list. Okay, so we have list which we just initialized in previous example, previous statement. So what we are doing, we are adding some extra condition on that. We are to filter out odd values, and we are getting even values. So here we can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These are even values we are getting. So this is another example that if there is odd number, then in that case we will just print odd number. So just there is the if else statement added. Then what we did here, we are specifying list sum with a 0, which is a small variable we created for in, and we just initialize that. And here what we are doing, we are summing it here. I mean, we are summing up every number into the next one. So in previous one. So what will happen if in a first iteration some list sum will have 0 value and num will have 1 value. So it will, this particular list will have 1 value, and in the next iteration some list sum will have 1 value and num will have 2 value. So it will be 3, total will be 3. So likewise it will add each and every item into that, and we will get 55 as output. So we are getting 55 as output. So this is a shortcut of, we are using shortcut here. So instead of writing list sum plus num, we can write it like this way as well. So we will get the same result here. So here just we are printing. So this is another example where we are not using list, but we are using string. So string can be iterated uh, using for each loop, for loop. So here we are able to see that list is printed properly. So string is printed properly. Then we are using tuple here. So tuple is another example. So uh, we are able to see it is printed here properly. Then this is a dictionary, tuple of, sorry, it is a collection list. So here we are able to see that list we are iterating list and we are getting tuple, and tuple is printed here. So we are able to see tuple. Then this is a another example want to let you know that we can do unpacking as well. What is unpacking? So list 2 is holding a list of tuples. So this is one tuple, this is second tuple, third tuple. Okay, this is third tuple. So what we are doing, we are specifying in a tuple only. We are holding, we are assigning that tuple, iterating tuple, and one by one we are assigning that tuple into T1 and T2. And what we are doing, we are printing only T1. Okay, we can print T2 as well by just doing something like print just a moment, we can do something like so I'm just what I'm doing, alternately it will print test as well. Just a minute. Okay, so we need to add new line as well. Yes. So yes, indentation is the most important part. So here we can see one tuple is separated by test string. So tuple T1 is printed here, and this is T2, and this is a small string which we added. So this is another tuple separated by test as a string. This is third tuple, 10 and 20, 12, and separated by text. So likewise, we can do some operation and unpack this T1 and T2, and we can do some operation here as well. So we can what we can do here, we can just make a addition as well. Let's see how it works. So here you can see 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 8 is 14, now 10 plus 12 is 22. So likewise, we can do some operation here as well. So this is a dictionary. So dictionary we already saw, and we can iterate this dictionary as well. So after iterating dictionary, we get it in item. We always get key in item, and that's why we are getting K1, K2, K3 is output. But if I want something different, then in that case I can do some you can use some method on uh, dictionary, and we can do some operations. So if I want key value pair, then what I'm doing, uh, I'm just using this particular items method. What it gives us, it gives a list of tuples. Okay, key value that which will hold key as a first value and second value as a value of that or item as a item of that particular dictionary. So key value pair will be unpacked here like this: k and k comma v, and it can be print here. K1 K1 will hold one value, K2 will two, and K3 will be three. So likewise, we can do something. We can do some operation on using list keys. So we can directly create list using d dot keys function. We can do sorting on values using sorted function. Okay. So likewise, we can do some operation here. So we are getting 1, 2, 3. So this is for each loop. Okay, then we'll move to continue statement. We can move to this particular part. Let's complete this. We already exceeded by 7 minutes. Let's not count it for now. Okay, so here we can see string is one string I'm taking as an input for each loop for loop, and I'm getting value in this particular variable, and this is a condition. I'm checking that if val equal to I, in that case I will break this particular for loop and I will print val. Okay, so let's execute this and see what is output. So we are getting str. I is from, if I getting I, in that case I am just breaking this for loop. I'm coming out from for loop. So that's why only str is printed, and the end is the last statement after this for loop. So I'm getting that because so break is only used for breaking any loop. Okay, so it will break inside that loop. Okay, so you can read this break statement that if break statement is inside a nested loop inside another loop, break statement will terminate the innermost loop. So if there is a for each loop inside for each loop likewise, so it will just break recent for each for loop. Okay, it will not come out from all nested for loops. Okay, so similarly there is a continue statement. What it does, it will continue to next, it will skip that particular iteration. Okay, so if similar statement, only thing what we did, we just replace break with continue. Okay, let's see what is output. So here execution proceed further, and by str, then we skipped I here by adding continue statement, and then move to control move to next iteration, that is ng, and then last statement, that is end, the end. Okay, so I continue is used for skipping particular iteration. Okay, but in general, in best coding practices, continue is discouraged. It is asked to not to use this particular continue, because what it does, it move this particular iteration n number of times. I mean, the we need to loop it over that many times, but we are not achieving anything. We are just skipping that particular iteration. So it doesn't serve any purpose. Instead, we can use some condition, uh, and we can avoid this continue statement. Okay, so that's why we should avoid this continue while doing some doing actual coding, because it is discouraged. What is pass statement? Pass is nothing but like a dummy code which we are writing. So if suppose there is a specific function, a function if I want to write, and that function is is not complete, is incomplete, and I want to write it later on, and after maybe uh, after a specific block of code I want to write first. Then after that, I will write this particular function or for each loop part, for part or loop part. Then in that case, I can just write pass statement. And if I don't specify this pass, then in that case, if I want this incomplete statement for a moment, and then later on I want to build some other logic, this will give error, syntax error. Okay, so that's why I need to specify pass here, so that it will not give error, but also it will pass to next logic. Okay, so that's why this pass statement is used. It is just a empty body. Okay, we cannot have the empty body, but we can specify or mimic using pass statement. Okay, uh, we can use some comment as well. Some developers might say that we can use comment. We can just specify comment here like this. It will not give error. Um, okay, this is not good example, but yeah, there is a if there is a function I wrote, and if I want to add some comment here, then that is also possible. But only thing is that comment can be Python will not consider comment as a actual statement, but pass is the actual statement. So that's why it will be executed properly. It will not give error. So that's why we need to specify as a pass. Okay, so these practices are used mainly when we are building something and we want to hold specific code for specific time. In that case, only we need to use pass. Okay, there is a while loop as well for useful operators and list combination. So these three things are there. So let's move to while as well. While loops. Okay, so similarly, what we saw in case of for loop, there is a while loop as well. What it does, it evaluates first statement, or some logical statement will it will evaluate first, and then it based on that it executes this particular number of lines of code. Okay, so in case of for loop, we don't have specific conditional statement. We cannot specify conditional statement in for loop, but in while loop we can specify that. So here we can specify like x is less than 10. In that case, execute this particular number of statements. And also in this particular scenario, we are incrementing or decrementing this x variable. So here we are incrementing x by one value. So in when x becomes 10, in that case, this for loop or while loop will be this particular statement will be or a logical statement will be false, and loop will come out from the control, come out or control will be come out from the loop. So here we can see these many statements, and the ninth iteration or 10th iteration, I would say 0 1 2 3 to 10th. So this is 10th iteration. X value will be 9. In that case, it just moved out uh, from the for loop. So likewise, while loop can be used. So in while loop, so in Python, specifically in Python, we don't see such a thing in C++ or on Java. But in Python, there is a option to specify else as well. So this is something different than other programming languages, that we can specify that when this particular statement gets false, what will be the output. So that will be print statement, that all done. So here in the same previous example, just added else part. So we are getting all done. Okay, so when after completion of this particular while loop, we can specify some logic here and do some extra stuff. So this break continue pass we already saw, um, but here it is in a nested loop or in conditional statement. Okay, so this we can skip. Okay, do not run this particular statement. So what is why we are mentioning this particular thing? Because if I just run this particular statement, then it will be like infinite way. It will go into infinite loop because there is no way to make it false. Because this is a conditional statement. This is always true statement. So this statement print statement will run infinite time, and this kernel of this particular Python will get crash once RAM gets full. Okay, so we should not run this particular statement. So that's why I just added this particular comment that do not run this particular code. So I will obviously not run this code, but to mention to you that this statement should always be false in some of the one of the one of the iteration of this case. Otherwise, will not come out from the while loop. Okay, so that's why we should keep this thing in mind while coding. Okay, move to next part, that is useful operators. Okay, so there is a function. Just one minute, I will just remove output. Okay, so range function, what it does, gives us it accepts three parameters: start, stop, and step size. So what it does is it gives us list of integers. Okay, so when we specify start of the range and end of the range, when to start and when to stop, then it gives us that particular list. Okay, so this after running this, we will be able to see that, oh, there is no list we are getting. But yeah, this is generator operators, generator function. So generator function, when we run in Jupyter Notebook, we will not be able to see anything. But when we specify in list function, then we are able to see that it work. Those are working in action. So what we are getting, that zero is the index, first item, and the 11 is the last item. So 11 is, sorry, 10 is the last item, not 11. So 11 is not included because uh, it is uh, it is like a slicing notation. That is just I mentioned here that it is a slicing notation that I want till 11, not including 11. So that's why the range function will stop before 11, not it will not include 11 as well. So that's why which will hold 0 to 10, not including 11. Okay, so always keep in mind that when you specify 11 in or specific integer here, that will not be included in the list. Okay, likewise I have specified here 1 to 12. So here we are getting 11. So if I want that 11 should be included, then in that case I can specify 12 here. So there's a we can specify step size as well. So I want step size for 2, that 0 2 4 likewise. So we will get something like this even numbers: 0 2 4 6 8 11 10. Okay, then here we can have 10 till 101. I want values with 10, step size of 10. So I'm getting 10 20 40 likewise. So this is the use of range function. Okay, very useful function. Then there is the enumerate. Okay, so let's see how it works. This is the form we are using format function here, and what it does, it gives us in index count and later. So I'm specifying later here, and index count will be um, specified here. So what format function does, it it operates on string. This is object. So this is object of, this is object, string object is there, and after adding dot here and doing some operation using format function, and there's a index counter. I'm specifying that index counter is initialized to 0, and later is a iterative value. So I'm getting as in here, getting as a uh, item here, and this is the curly braces I'm specifying. This is a placeholder. So what I'm doing, I'm writing a first placeholder, second placeholder, and based on sequence of this particular uh, arguments, it gets placed here. So here index count will be placed here, and later count, later index, later will be placed at this particular placeholder. Okay. So this particular operation can be achieved using the enumerate function. So tuple unpacking happens here. So enumerate gives us two things, that it gives us item as well as its index. So both the things we are getting. So here we need to do it manually, but in this using enumerate function we can do it using function, enumerate function. So here we are getting this, and our code has been condensed now. Where there is a zip function as well. So let's see that part as well, how it works. So if I'm having two list one and list two. List one is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and second one is list two is A, B, C, D, E as well. So five values there in both the list. So if I specify in zip, so this is under generator function. So that's why we are not getting any output. But if we specify in the list, in that case we are getting tuple, list of tuples. So first first value of this list will be combined with the second value of first value of list 2. So likewise it is combining and creating a list of tuples. So we can do some operation here using for each loop. So we can iterate that as well. Iterate tuples, and by unpacking. So here we are unpacking tuples, and we are doing some by using format function we can specify placeholder, and we can create a string, dynamic string. Okay, there is an in operator as well. So you know what in operator does, it checks whether this x or any this particular value is present in this particular list or not. So obviously the x is there in this particular statement, this particular list. So this is the we are getting true. If I run this particular statement, then mean and max function is there. So if I run mean of if I want to the minimum value from the list, then we max function as well. So we're getting 100. Then there is a random function. So what for random, we need to import from shuffle library. Okay, so we need to import shuffle library, and from shuffle import shuffle, we need to get the random function. So this is the thing. This is a very useful part of this Python, that we can import specific function from any library. So the shuffle is the library, and we are importing only random function from that. So sorry, from random I'm importing shuffle function. So I was saying in a wrong way or opposite way, but yeah, we're importing shuffle function from random library. So that's why we are getting shuffle function, and if I run this particular shuffle function, then it gives us shuffle value of previous list, which was here. 10, 20. It was in a sequence manner, but after doing shuffle, they're getting shuffled. If I run it again, you will get the different output. So here I'm uh, importing a different function, that is rand in. Okay, so okay, I need to run it again. Okay, so rand int is nothing but it gives us any integer value from out of this particular range, from this particular range. So 0 to 100, any value it will give. So it is giving different values whenever we run again and again. Okay, so here it is. I'm giving some different. Um, okay, it is twice. At least these two functions are written twice. Okay, so um, this is an input function. So input function, what it does, it accepts one value from input. So whenever we write any Python code and we want some input from user, okay, so in that case we can use this input function, and what it does, it gives us input. I mean that particular uh, um, label of this input field, that is enter something into this box. So we are getting that box as well. So we can specify that number. I'm specifying the 12. So I'm getting output as 12. So this is how it input function works. So it accepts one value and any input value from user. So this is a useful operator. Different operators we are using. List comprehension. I guess this is slightly um, complicated topic. Could be to cover in 4 minutes. I was thinking to cover it till uh, 3:30, but it will be slightly more for you. So let's cover this particular point in next session. So in next session we will continue from list and then move to functions. These functions and methods will move to this particular part. Okay, so yeah, we can close this particular session, and then let's start tomorrow again, and we'll cover some new, we will learn some new topics. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Hope there is no questions. Okay, so there is some comment that they want Hindi as well. Okay.
Okay, sir. You can continue tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for
Good day,
time.
all of you. Good day.
Have a nice day.